My life felt like a perfectly constructed puzzle. I had a loving husband, Daniel, 2 wonderful kids, and a career I was passionate about. We lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood where everyone knew each other, and life was, for the most part, predictable and comfortable. My sister Clara lived just a few towns over, and our families were incredibly close. Her son, my nephew Leo, was like a third child to me. He was in his late teens, a good kid, navigating the ups and downs of high school. I trusted him completely. It all started on a seemingly ordinary Saturday afternoon. Daniel was away on a business trip, a common occurrence in our lives. I was managing the kids, the house, and a mountain of laundry. The kids had a soccer game, and I was running late as usual. As I was about to herd them into the car, my phone buzzed. It was Clara. "Hey, can you do me a huge favor?" she asked, her voice a little strained. "Leo's car broke down on the way back from his friend Mark's house. The tow truck is going to take hours. Could you possibly give him and Mark a ride home? They're stranded at the old diner on Route 9. "Of course," I said without hesitation. "We're just heading out for the kids' game, but I can swing by and pick them up on the way." It was a bit of a detour. But what's family for? I dropped my kids off at the soccer field, promising to be back before the game ended. Then, I headed towards Route 9. The old diner was a landmark, a bit run down but nostalgic. I spotted Leo and his friend Mark standing by a beat-up sedan, its hood propped open. Leo waved as I pulled up. "Auntie, you're a lifesaver," he exclaimed, sliding into the passenger seat. Mark, a polite but quiet boy I'd met a few times, got into the back. "No problem at all," I replied, smiling. "What happened to your car?" "Just old age, I think." Leo sighed dramatically. It finally gave up. We chatted on the way, the usual stuff: school, friends, plans for the summer. Mark was mostly silent in the back, occasionally murmuring a yeah or I guess. I dropped Mark off first, then headed towards my sister's house. As Leo was about to get out of the car, he turned to me. "Hey, Auntie," he said, looking a bit sheepish. "I think Mark might have left his phone in the back. Can you check?" I turned around and glanced at the back seat. There it was, a sleek black phone lying on the floor mat. "Yep, got it. I'll drop it off at his house tomorrow." "Actually," Leo said quickly, "he really needs it tonight. He's expecting an important call. Could you maybe take it back to him now? It's not too far out of your way." I hesitated. I was already running late to get back to the soccer game. But Leo looked so earnest, and I figured it would only take another 15 minutes. "All right," I agreed. "Tell me the address again." Leo gave me the directions, and I plugged them into my phone's GPS. He thanked me profusely before heading inside his house. I started driving towards Mark's place. The GPS led me down a series of unfamiliar, winding roads. It felt a little strange, taking me further away from the main highway. The neighborhood was getting more and more secluded, with houses spaced far apart and hidden behind tall trees. Finally, the GPS announced, "You have arrived." I pulled into a long, dark driveway. The house was set far back from the road, almost completely obscured by overgrown bushes. It looked empty. No lights were on. An uneasy feeling started to creep over me. I turned off the car and was about to get out when my own phone rang. It was Daniel. "Hey, honey," he said, his voice warm and familiar. "Just calling to say goodnight. How was your day? Did the kids win their game?" "Hey, you," I said, a wave of relief washing over me at the sound of his voice. "The game's not over yet. I'm actually on a bit of a wild goose chase. Had to pick up Leo and his friend, and now I'm returning a lost phone." "Oh, where are you?" he asked. "Some weird, dark street. Mark's house, I think. It looks deserted," I replied, peering out the window. "It's a little creepy, to be honest." There was a pause on the other end. Then Daniel said, "That's strange. Which friend did you say? Mark?" "Yeah, Leo's friend Mark," I confirmed. "Honey?" Daniel's voice suddenly sharpened, laced with an urgency I couldn't understand. "What's Mark's last name?" I don't know," I stammered, my heart starting to pound. "Why? Listen to me very carefully," he said, his tone low and serious. "Lock your doors right now. Don't get out of the car. Just start driving and get out of there. Go straight to the police station." "What, Daniel? You're scaring me. What's going on?" "I don't have time to explain everything," he said, his voice tight with controlled panic. "I just got an alert on our credit card. A charge from a motel. A motel on Route 9, right near that old diner. I called the motel. They confirmed the room was booked under my name. They described the person who checked in. A woman. My blood ran cold. I couldn't breathe. A woman. Daniel, what are you saying? That's impossible." "I've been with the kids with Leo. Is the charge for one night?" I asked, my voice trembling. "No," he said, and the word hit me like a physical blow. It's for 3 hours. My mind reeled. It didn't make any sense. But then, the pieces started clicking into place with horrifying clarity. The broken down car, the lost phone, the detour to a dark, isolated house. It wasn't Mark's house I was being set up, but by whom? And for what? Just drive, Daniel urged. Get somewhere safe. I'm on my way to the airport. I'll get the first flight back. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. I fumbled with the gear shift, my eyes darting around the dark, silent property. As I put the car in reverse, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A figure emerged from the shadows of the house, walking towards my car. My heart leaped into my throat. It was a woman I recognized. It was Clara, my sister. And standing right behind her, stepping out of the darkness, was my own husband, Daniel. The phone fell from my hand. The world tilted on its axis. He wasn't on a business trip. He wasn't on the phone from miles away. He was here, with my sister. They stood there, frozen in my headlights, like guilty animals. Their faces were a mixture of shock and horror, caught in the act. The call, Daniel's voice, the concern, it had all been a performance. He wasn't warning me of danger. He was trying to control the situation, to find out where I was, to manage his own lies. He must have used some kind of app to disguise his location, or maybe a second phone, the credit card alert. Had he triggered it himself somehow to make his story more believable? My mind was a whirlwind of betrayal. My husband, my sister, my nephew, who had so innocently led me into this trap. He must have known. They had all orchestrated this. The plan was probably for me to get out of the car, to walk up to that empty house, and then, what? They would stage something, take a photo, create some fake evidence to frame me, to make it look like I was the one having an affair, to ruin my life, destroy my reputation, take my children. Adrenaline surged through me, cold and sharp. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal. The tires squealed on the gravel as I reversed at high speed. My eyes locked on the two figures in my rearview mirror, their shocked faces shrinking into the distance. I didn't stop until I was back on the main road, the streetlights feeling like a safe harbor. I drove, not to the police, not home, but to my parents' house, the only place I knew I would be safe. The entire drive, my life played out in my head. Every family dinner, every holiday, every shared laugh with my sister, every loving word from my husband, it was all tainted, all a lie. The days that followed were a blur of lawyers, tears, and difficult conversations. The truth that unraveled was uglier than I could have ever imagined. Daniel and Clara had been having an affair for over a year. He wanted to leave me but didn't want the financial hit of a divorce or a custody battle. So they concocted this monstrous plan to discredit me, to paint me as an unfaithful wife so he could get everything. My nephew, Leo, confessed that he had been manipulated into it. They told him I was seeing someone and that they needed proof to save the family. He was a kid and he trusted his mom and his uncle. The guilt was eating him alive. Rebuilding my life from the ashes of that betrayal has been the hardest thing I've ever done. There are days when the anger and the pain feel overwhelming, but I look at my children and I know I have to be strong for them. I found a strength I never knew I had. The puzzle of my old life was shattered, but I'm slowly, piece by piece, building a new one, a truer one. It's a life built not on illusions, but on the hard-won reality of my own resilience. Trust is a fragile thing, and I've learned that sometimes the deepest betrayals come from the people you least expect, the ones smiling right next to you. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've gone through something similar, know that you are not alone and you have the strength to get through it. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.